In this session, we're going to talk about 5 books that every trader must read. Now, these books are not nice to haves or one of those that you would read during your next vacation. These are mandatory textbooks for you if you are a serious trader. And you have to read them with the same rigor with which you read back in your school days. Unfortunately, I read some of these books later in my trading career. I wonder how much time and money I would have saved had I read these books earlier. Alright, let's dive into the list. Number 1 on the list is Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. This is by far one of the best books on trading, and it's ideal for beginners because it is written in a very easy to understand language. It covers a lot of ground. For example, it explains why consistency is more important than being right, why it's important to take full responsibility of all the trades, the good, the bad, and especially the ugly. Believe me, it's hard. Why our perception of the market and ourselves matter, how to develop understanding and appreciation of risk management, and how to find your edge. Here are some great advices that I took from the book. Forget results, focus on the process. We are sometimes so ultra focused on the absolute profits and losses that we don't realize that our process itself might be faulty or unsustainable. Think in terms of probabilities. A major breakthrough from this book for me was a mindset of probabilistic thinking. To know that trading is not about certainties, it's about managing and embracing probabilities. And finally, finding a trading style that fits your personality. I have always been an aggressive intraday trader and sometimes felt guilty about that. But after reading this book, I felt much more comfortable in my style and my demeanor. And you know what? That worked for me. Number 2 on the list is Market Wizards by Jack Schwager. Jack interviews some of the world's savviest and most high-profile traders, and what comes out is a non-stop stream of wisdom and insights. Here are some gems. I have 2 basic rules about winning in trading as well as in life. If you don't bet, you can't win. If you lose all your chips, you can't bet. In other words, finding that middle ground between greed and fear. And this next one, I don't think you can consistently be a winning trader if you're banking on being right more than 50% of the time. You have to figure out how to make money being right only 20 to 30% of the time. In other words, win big, lose small. The markets are not random because they are based on human behavior, and human behavior, especially mass behavior, is not random. It never has been and probably never will be. So true. Speaking of interviews with successful traders, you might also want to check out this YouTube channel called Chat with Traders. The host Aaron Fifield has interviewed some really good traders out there. Number 3 on the list is my favorite, Thinking Fast and Slow. Technically speaking, it's not a trading book. It's actually a book about inner workings of our brain. The reason it is a must read is because trading is essentially decision making under pressure. And unless we understand how the mind arrives at decisions, we will never be in full control. The book is written by Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman and just loaded with insights. When I started reading this book, I thought of highlighting the important points. After 3 or 4 pages, it became obvious that if I keep doing that, the whole book had to be highlighted. It's that good. One of the important concepts that the author talks about is the concept of fast and slow brain, which he also calls System 1 and System 2. The fast brain operates automatically and quickly with little or no effort. Answer this. 2 plus 2 equals to 4, right? Now you didn't calculate 2 plus 2, you just knew. How about bread and? Now you didn't think what would be the logical match for bread, you just knew it would be butter. We all have developed a sort of automatic responses to everyday situations, and that is very helpful in making our lives easier. Imagine if you have to add 2 plus 2 every time. Slow brain is the one that does the heavy lifting. It is engaged when you do something like file your taxes or solve a complex math problem like this. Engaging the slow brain is painful, and our mind is programmed to put it at work as little as possible. It is basically conservation of energy. Fast brain is your default mode of thinking. Over 90% of what you do on a day-to-day basis is done by the fast brain. However, from a trading standpoint, you need to change this default setting. Fast brain may be good for taking care of day-to-day stuff, but for trading, we need the horsepower of the slow brain. The book nicely explains how to get the slow brain activated. Another important learning was the law of small numbers, which is our tendency to generalize based on very small sample or observations. A funny illustration of that is this Dilbert's cartoon script. Pause the video to read through it. Dogbert is in charge of surveying, and all he does is to survey just one person. He takes the results to his boss, and contrary to all common sense, the boss is actually happy with the survey because he liked what he heard and doesn't want any evidence that will support the contrary. We are not that different from the boss either. We like to hear and see evidences that support our view and actively ignore the contrary. In trading, that means not accepting your mistake early on and let the losses pile on. It can be very dangerous. Another way to look at this is from a trading strategy standpoint. I see traders who test a strategy for a couple of weeks and they are so confident that they are ready to put all their trading capital on it. For a strategy to be effective, you need to test it for a long enough period of time. It has to stand the test of time and seasonality. If a strategy worked in 2018, it has to work in 2019, 20 and 21. If not, then what's the point? Anyway, long story short, get hold of this book ASAP. Number 4 on the list is Trading for a Living by Dr. Alexander Elder. Dr. Elder's book is broadly recognized as a practical guide for getting started with trading. He's an actual doctor, by the way. He worked as a psychiatrist in New York and then taught in Columbia University. He talks about 3 M's: mind, method, and money, and how they influence each other. Not just psychology. In this book, you will also learn about techniques like Elder Ray, development of trading system, understanding crowd mentality, and spotting high probability trades. A lot of good stuff. Last but not the least, Reminiscences of a Stock Operator by Jesse Livermore. This book was published almost 100 years back, but still is the most popular book among professional traders. Jesse Livermore was a high-stake trader who made and lost his fortunes several times in the stock market. His story is amazing and every word coming out of this book is pure gold. Here are some of the golden nuggets. As long as market and stock are acting right, don't be in a hurry to book profits. I will be honest with you guys, I have been in the market for over a decade and it is still hard for me. Next, never average losses. Let that be written indelibly on your mind. In fact, we have made a series of videos just on the perils of averaging. Do check them out. And this one should never sell a stock just because it seems overpriced. I see traders who think that just because a stock has gone up 5% or 6% or 10%, it cannot go up further. Big mistake. When a market is telling you something, you have to listen to the market. And this one, do not anticipate and move without market's confirmation. So what that basically means is that you can presume that a stock is going to run, but essentially unless the market gives you a signal that it is running, you should not be entering into the stock. Limit interest in too many stocks. It is much easier to watch a few. Instead of watching 200 or 300 stocks, it's always better to have a short list of say 20 or 30 stocks so that you can watch them regularly. You know exactly what the support and resistances are for those stocks, and basically you learn the personality of those stocks. And lastly, profits take care of themselves, but losses never do. It's a trader's job to keep the losses small and nobody else will do it for you. Alright guys, these are the books. Get them as soon as possible and read them from cover to cover. You will not regret it.